lot of people ask me, dang, why you with all new people? You ain't with none of your day ones. My day ones was the ones that wasn't there when I needed them.
Saw wasn't me and still shot. What she do to you?
Why they let us get our hands on them pistols? Why we ain't get a book on all the shit that came with it?
Welcome back to another episode of Tru-Street TV, where we cover everything street related. Hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell, and let's get right into it. Today's story brings us back to Detroit, Michigan, a city with a rough background, having declared bankruptcy just 12 years ago in 2013. And the city still faces high unemployment and poverty rates to this day, leaving many Detroit youth to fend for themselves at young ages. In turn, this will create a city full of hustlers determined to make a way out. And that brings us to the man we're here to talk about today. 30-year-old Terry Wallace Jr., or better known by his rap name, T Grizzley. T has one of the craziest come-up stories I've ever heard, as well as one of the most consistent rap careers in the game today. He was born on March 23, 1994, on the city's west side to parents Terry Sanchez Sr. and LaToya Perry. Both of T's parents would be active in the streets, as well as his whole family, as he describes everybody around him selling drugs as he grew up. T also has a younger brother by the name of Marcellus Wallace. He used to go by the name Marmar. They hail from a very dangerous hood on the city's west side known as the Scud Zone. This hood is also very heavily gang infested, with Bloods, Crips, GDs, Vice Lords, and countless cliques like YNF and RTM, which T and Marmar were heavily affiliated with.
Ask T Grizzley, nigga, my motherfucking our house was a real trap dope house. Niggas in that cooking crack, nigga, selling pussy. You go in another room, nigga cutting up the dope in the basement. Nigga, we done seen things OD in the crib.
As T's parents were both heavily involved in the streets, T and his brother would end up being raised by their grandmother. Early on, T had a very close relationship with Detroit rapper All-Star Lee, as their mothers were close friends and they themselves became close friends in elementary school, both living on Joy Road. In 2011, Lee became close with Detroit rapper Campaign Poe, who had his own studio in his house. Lee would eventually bring T over to Poe's house and the trio would form All Stars Ball Hard and begin rapping as a group. T would also take a massive loss this year, as his mother would end up selling small amounts of drugs to undercover federal agents in late 2010 and would subsequently be indicted on April 13, 2011. The group will go on to release their debut mixtape called Ain't No Competition Volume 1 on September 17, 2011. This tape was making some noise in the streets, and the song Bitch We All Buffed Up was going crazy.
All my niggas getting money, slapping cushion oxys on the road and something foreign. I don't even own a license.
The next year of 2012, T, Poe, and Lee will go on to release Ain't No Competition Volume 2 on March 5th, 2012, and then they will go on to release another mixtape called Dream Team just months later in May. And all throughout this time, T was making sure he got all of his high school work done, and he would graduate from Cody High School the next year in June of 2013. But before going into his senior year of high school in the summer of 2012, T would take a massive loss as his father was killed. T would explain how his dad was in the streets and some guys he was dealing with were using his car and ended up getting into a shootout. The men will go on to return Terry's car back to him without letting him know they had just shot at somebody.
He was around the less, but I had the strongest relationship with him. He was like the best person out of everybody to me. He was selling drugs, and he had some dudes working for him. Got into a shootout with some dudes in my daddy's car. So they took him his car back, never telling him that they just had shot at these dudes. He parked and go stand on the porch. The dudes ride past. Oh yeah, that's the car that just shot at us. Start shooting. He the only one got hit. Yeah, and he ended up bleeding to death.
After graduating in June of 2013, T will go on to be accepted into Michigan State University, which was a huge deal for T, as he would now be the only person in his immediate family to attend college. He would major in finance and accounting. T would also remix Payroll Giovanni's Chain on My Dresser, which was going crazy in the streets around this time.
Boy and brick buster, dripping rich flutter, soft cane jumper, make a bust, bitch stuffer.
T's freshman year of college would begin late 2013, and All-Star JR would begin rapping with the group around this time as they began recording the mixtape Get It Sold. In February of 2014, T and JR would spend about 2 weeks breaking into dorm rooms and stealing over $20,000 worth of electronics and cash. T and JR would quickly be snatched up by Lansing police, and they would deny the accusations even though they were caught on camera and multiple people had told on them. But for some reason, police wouldn't charge them for this until months later, but for the time being, T was kicked out of MSU.
You was in school, you was stealing computers, right?
I was breaking in dorm rooms.
Okay.
And like laptops, iPhones, money, all that type of stuff.
You said you stole like $20,000 worth of items?
Yeah.
And that you got kicked out because of that?
Yeah. I was
got caught doing that too?
No, somebody told him he doing that.
T would then go on to make an appearance on Peasy's classic mixtape Mud Music, released in May of 2014, on the song Quick.
I would let niggas get rich with me, but they run off with a quarter instead of trying to build a brick type of shit.
All-Star JR, real name Jeremy Ford, would turn himself into Lansing police in July, facing serious felonies for these thefts.
What happened at Michigan State?
Quarter cases there.
Like, what happened exactly, though?
Just, I don't really want to speak on, there's other niggas who was involved in it. We moved so far past it, you feel me? That's like rehashing some super old shit. But caught a case up there, went to the joint shit, me and my co-D, you feel me? We both got locked up. Some niggas told, as niggas do.
T would describe getting a call from an unknown number, which was Lansing police, telling him to turn himself in for the burglaries. T would quickly hang the phone up once he realized it was the police, and crazy enough, as this convo was being held, T was in the car with 4 other RTM members, on their way to what they thought was a jewelry store in Lexington, Kentucky, but it was actually a pawn shop. They planned to go in, smash the glass containing the Rolex watches, and run out with the watches.
So, I'm in a motherfucking car on my way to Kentucky, right? To hit a lick. Nigga, I get a phone call from a Lansing number. I'm going to school in Lansing at this time. All the shit had just happened though. I don't know the number though, but I ain't really nobody at the time. So if a motherfucker call my phone, I down there need to pick up. Right. You feel me? So I answer. They say, hey, how you doing, Mr. Wallace? This is such and such with the sheriff department in Lansing. Yeah, we got a warrant out for your arrest. Your friend just turned herself in. And if you turn yourself in, it'll look good rather than us having to come get you. Nigga, I hung up the phone. My motherfucking heart dropped, nigga. It was a different ride on the way to Kentucky at that point, nigga. I'm like, I'm a wanted man, nigga.
I want to do this shit.
Nigga, I gotta do it now because I gotta go hit the lick and pay for the lawyer. I ain't got no pay.
Thanks.
It was July 1st, 2014. Being summertime, it was hot outside, and the group entered with hoodies pulled over their head. And obviously, they got weird looks as they walked in. T would assure the workers that he was a boxer and he was just trying to lose weight, and that's why he had the hood over his head. T would eventually pull a sledgehammer out and smash the glass that the Rolexes were sitting under. As soon as he did this, the store's manager would pull out a firearm on the group and demand them to get on the ground.
I walk in the jewelry store. Why you got a hoodie on? Because it's hot as fuck outside. They looking at me crazy. Why you got a hoodie on? I'm like, I'm a boxer and I gotta lose weight for this fighting shit. You know what I'm saying? So I just been jogging and shit with the hoodie. They're like, all right, bet, but they still watching. I pull the hammer out, hit the glass. Psh, see all the Rolexes. Before I can even grab one of them bitches, I hear freeze. When I hear freeze, I know it's a gun involved. That's all I need to know. I got the hammer in my hand. I'm like, damn, I should try this motherfucker. I turn around. I see a white guy, born and raised in the South. I'm like, oh, this nigga kill me. Let me go, quit playing with him. I drop the hammer, get out. They call the police, nigga. That bitch gets surrounded with police.
2 of the RTM members were able to run out of the pawn shop and were never actually caught, but Terry Wallace, Theo Evans, and Dwan Harris would be arrested by Lexington police and taken to jail, facing multiple felony charges and over 30 years in prison. All 3 of the men would stay silent and not talk to the police, and T would spend the rest of the year in Kentucky jail. All-Star Lee would release the Get It Sold tape under their new label, Get It Bag Records. Also this month, T would appear on a song with Dex Osama and Babyface Ray.
Evergreen and Joy Rose, you know who died there. Don't come around, ain't no love, you won't survive there.
The next year, in April of 2015, the FBI would indict 5 RTM members on RICO charges. The 5 members were only 19, 20, and 21 years old, which is crazy to be indicted by the FBI that young. It just shows how wild they were getting in the streets. T would explain how while in jail in Kentucky, he was around older dudes that had just been given 20 to 30 years, and they were telling him if they offer him 10 years to take it, as he was facing serious armed robbery charges.
I get to talking to niggas in that bitch like, damn, what you think they gonna do? They're like, shit, y'all niggas will be lucky to get 10, 15 years in this bitch.
God damn.
I'm like, oh, I ain't never getting out. Oh, nigga, like, nigga, you better get in that motherfucking law book. Don't be talking to these niggas and hear these niggas don't know shit.
But after spending time in the law books, T would discover a loophole in this case. As for it to be considered armed robbery, the perpetrators would have to threaten somebody with a weapon or demand something while holding the weapon. But the group did not do this, as all they did was smash the glass before being held at gunpoint, meaning they couldn't be convicted of armed robbery, and T would end up just serving around 9 months in jail on destruction of property charges. He would finish his time in Kentucky around April 2015 and called his family to drive the 10 hours to come get him. But by his surprise, as soon as he was released released, Lansing police were there to arrest him, taking him back to Michigan to face his home invasion charges. And JR had just pled guilty to the charges 2 months earlier in February of 2015, being sentenced to 18 months to 15 years in prison. T's little brother Marmar would also be booked into jail on armed robbery charges around this time. JR would go on to be released from prison in June of 2015, and T would plead guilty to the Michigan State charges on September 30th, 2015, and be sentenced to 18 months to 15 years, just as JR was. T will go on to be released the next year on October 16, 2016. During this time, he would begin reaching out to family and friends trying to gather the money to produce his song, and the one person who would take his chance on T, spending over $2,000 on his outfit, the producer, the studio session, and paying for the video shoot. That person is a woman that goes by the name of Jabina Brown, also known as JB. JB was married to T's uncle, and although his uncle didn't believe in him and wasn't willing to put the money up, JB was, and also wanted to manage T.
I had asked a lot of people in my family for a chance, because this is what I was really trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, can y'all help buy me a beat? I really want to rap, you know what I'm saying? A lot of them just wasn't taking me serious. Like, you better go get a job, what you trying to rap for, and all this other stuff.
Right. And she believed in you.
She believed in me. She was the only one. That first day out video, she paid for the video, bought the outfit I had on in the video, everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So,
what we playing right
I've been rocking ever since.
Together, they will go on to release T's first song as a solo artist called First Day Out.
You ever been inside a federal courtroom? Nigga, you ever went to trial and fought for your life?
The song would instantly make its way across social media and was gaining hundreds of thousands of views every day, making T a star overnight, with celebrities like LeBron James even rapping along.
Hit the rolling stone with the rollie on. Jag portfolio.
T would mention plenty people in this song, including All-Star JR.
Hey, JR, nigga. Ain't it a blessing? We made it out of Lansing after all that happened.
He would also mention Dwan and Theo, who he got caught with in the case in Kentucky.
Hey, Wando. Hey, Theo, ain't it a blessing? We made it out Kentucky after all that happened.
The RTM indictment would also be a topic in this song, with T denying his involvement, although he did shout out Scud's on later in the song.
Feds was on me. What you know about related through money? I don't know nothing. I just used to see him walk to the cone. Niggas say they looking for me, pull up in the Scuddy zone.
T will go on to do an interview with Lando on October 27th, saying he's no longer All-Star ball hard and was pursuing a solo career. After this song was going crazy, he would quickly start getting booked for shows in other states. Even though he only had one song, he made thousands of dollars performing First Day Out, and it would also land him a deal with 300 Entertainment. 2 months later, on December 3rd, he would release a feature with Detroit rap group Band Gang called Straight to It. This was another huge song to end the year off, sitting at over 20 million views on YouTube.
How that nigga T get out that RTM indictment? What? I wasn't on that case. Keep your dick suckers quiet.
Now we're heading into 2017. All-Star JR began making noise on his own as a solo artist, as well as he began shooting videos for his songs from his debut solo mixtape Get a Bag or Go Home, released early 2016. On the song Water, JR would mention T's little brother Marmar.
Marmar threw his life away. He say don't send him $1. It's some hams at his joint. He go eat with no problem.
JR would also explain how after the case they had a no contact order, so they couldn't be around each other.
That's my baby. Like right now, our situation, the papers and shit, we don't supposed to have no contact with each other, so y'all niggas could, what y'all niggas be doing? Dick sucking. Y'all niggas quit dick sucking, saying we beefing and all that weird shit. Everything all right. Niggas ain't about to go to jail, so y'all niggas can like our picture, though. Get the fuck on.
Also in January, T would release a song called Secrecy featuring Fotu Twin.
Got a better way to hit that road, but I can't say the route. I got a plug on some shit I ain't gonna say out loud.
Twin is a very well-respected Fotu member, which is the same hood Fotu Doug is from, but we'll speak more about that later. T will go on to release Second Day Out on March 14, 2017, shooting the video at his father's gravesite.
Nigga, I'm solid, I've been through that fire, been tested like gold. Lost pops and was heartbroken. That's the shit I go hard for.
He will go on to release another huge song just 2 weeks later on March 31st called No Effort.
One time for my dukes, one time for my pops. Free Twink, rest in peace T, fuck the ops.
And around a week later on April 7th, T would release his debut mixtape called My Moment. A lot of artists have big songs that go viral, but a lot of them can't follow up with a good mixtape. T had spent his time in prison perfecting his craft, and this album was heat, with songs like Real Niggas, where he spoke on being left alone in prison.
Courtroom being empty, way back at my final sentence. No letters or no pictures, like a nigga just stopped living.
And about a month later on May 5th, T would collab with Atlanta artist Lil Yachty, and they would release one of the biggest songs of T's career called From the D to the A.
Soon as they touch Atlanta, get with both, secure the bag, nigga. Hey, back security, that's on my mama, bro.
He would then go on to release a single called T-Troit in July, and he also became close friends with well-known Detroit rapper Sada Baby around this time. T was nominated for 2 awards at the 2017 BET Awards, including Best New Artist and Best Mixtape, losing both to Cardi B. He would then release another huge single on November 3rd, 2017 called Win, which sits at over 20 million views.
90s baby, but I get to that money like 86 again. Lost pops and fell off, we back rich again.
After this, T would collab on a joint mixtape with Lil Durk called Blooders. They would release this on December 8th with the song Third Person going crazy with over 12 million views with no video. In this song, T spoke a lot about people wanting help from him who didn't help him while he was in prison.
They feelings cause he ain't fucking with them. And they can't call that nigga, but he couldn't call them niggas.
Going into 2018, at the top of the year, All-Star JR would release a song called Running Out, where he threw shots at T for leaving his guys behind.
Niggas steady asking me why you ain't out with T. Shit, I don't know for real, but all my niggas out with me.
And other Detroit artists began making huge noise around this time, one being T's artist Sada Baby, who released Block Party on March 23rd, 2018.
Pussy nigga got shot and he ran to the gram. If I get shot, I'ma shoot till it jam in my hand.
This was a very big song at the time and sits at over 100 million views today. T would then go on to feature on Lil Yachty's album on the song Get Money Bros, before releasing his debut studio album Activated on May 11, 2018. This album would have plenty industry features including Lil Durk, YFN Lucci, Chris Brown, Lil Pump, Moneybagg Yo, Young Jeezy, and Lil Yachty, with Jet Ski Grizzly and 2 Volts being huge songs, as well as the song Colors, which is my favorite off of the album.
Rose Prezi on my wrist, I can afford that. Back in the day, I couldn't even look toward that.
T also became close friends with Philly rapper PNB Rock around this time, and they released a song together on August 28th called No Rap Cap.
Fuck these niggas, they ain't getting no pass.
Also around this time, T would go to Icebox and he would drop $400,000 on a custom half Grizzly, half T piece.
T, I don't think he ever came to my shop without dropping $100,000. And he still got more to leave with.
Bingo.
Bingo.
You feel me?
Craziest piece in the game.
Craziest piece in the world.
Yeah.
You feel me? I think that's gonna stay that way for real.
T would then go on to feed his fans another mixtape called Still My Moment on November 9, 2018. And just 5 days after this, T would release a documentary called Off Parole. His mother would speak from a jail call on this documentary. What surprised me is All-Star JR and Lee would appear in this documentary.
Like my son growing up seeing all of this, it was like once he blew up, I know they was excited, the whole hood like, damn, T.
That nigga went from prison to BET.
T would end the year off with another huge song as Peasy remade the song Quick from Mud Music, calling the new one Too Quick, this time featuring Payroll Giovanni. T went crazy on this feature and has deep ties with Peasy as they've been close since T was in high school.
Surprised I ain't got pneumonia from this fucking Cuban. I can go and do a show and drop new paddock like Lil Uzi.
The next year of 2019, T would start the year off with a single called God First, released February 1st, 2019.
I'm that same street nigga that used to swap pants. I ain't a better person, bitch, I still want my ops dead.
He would then go on to release a song with Fotu Doug called MWBL, released March 29, 2019. This was a surprising collab as his close friend Sada Baby was into it with the whole Fotu, and Twin was previously dissing T.
Used to be my homeboy, he a op now. Used to be my main man, he a lame. But that paper niggas changed.
I got niggas done died. Nigga, brother in prison. Niggas in prison, bro. Niggas done died over this shit, bro. This shit is real street shit, bro. Niggas done died, bro. Nigga, you can't play a nigga like me close and then go running with my ops, nigga. And befriending my ops and think that shit supposed to be cool with me, nigga.
T would go on to release Scriptures. This is his second studio album, released on June 7, 2019, and has good songs like Locked Up, where he raps about his brother and his mother being in prison, as well as his father passing away.
My mama locked up, my pops got popped up, lil' bro still locked up. And it got me fucked up.
The biggest song on this album by far is called Young Grizzly World, featuring YNW Melly and A Boogie. This song has over 45 million views with no video.
They gon' make you nail 'em. My nigga got life, he call every day, I don't know what to tell him.
T would receive a massive blow just 2 months later on August 20th. T and his aunt JB were riding in an Uber going to T's cousin's house on the city's east side. As they arrived to the house and T exited the car and walked up to the side door, a man hopped out of a car nearby and approached the Uber. He would open the door T was just sitting in and fired multiple shots into the car, hitting 41-year-old Jobina Brown 8 times. The Uber driver would take her to a nearby hospital where she sadly passed away from her injuries. injuries.
At the studio with Guapo and Jay Swan or whatever. I'm going over my cousin's house, my older cousin. He was real close with my pops, just like my pop's brother. And I always try to, you know what I'm saying, show him some love because that's another wound we really ain't healed from.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I went over there and I was telling her, like, come in the house. And she like, no, I don't want to go in. I'm begging her to come in the house. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, all right, I'll be right back. So I'm knocking on the door. My people's taking so long to come to the door. You know what I'm saying? And they finally come to the door. As soon as I see her, as soon as I see my auntie, she about to open the door. I just hear a whole bunch of shots going off. You know what I'm saying? Behind me, I hear a whole bunch of shots going off. So my cousin ran out with the gun or whatever, and we ran out in the front to see what's going on. My driver gone. There's no cars out here. You know what I'm saying? That my driver ended up calling me like and told me what happened. So basically what happened, they walked up to my door and opened my door. You know what I'm saying? Some niggas opened my door trying to get at me. He ended up hitting her up.
T will go on to release the song Satish in commemoration to his aunt shooting the music video at her funeral. T would be heartbroken by this and feel heavy guilt as he knew the man came to kill him and not JB.
Man, that envy shit so real, you make it out these streets, you saw it wasn't me and still shot. What she do to you?
The song Satish was a very huge song and sits at over 50 million views on YouTube. T and Sada would also fall out around this time as Sada was upset over the Doug feature earlier in the year and claimed T wasn't imagining his career correctly.
Dropping songs with my ops and shit, like on some weird shit. Have you bumped into T Grizzley in person since the split? Hell no, I don't know where Dog be at. He don't be in Detroit.
T would start off 2020 with a song called Red Light. He would again mention the JB situation and would repeat the words, better not let me find out, seemingly saying JB's killers better not let him find out who they are.
Don't let me find out. They better not let me find out.
2 months later in March, he would release another song called Payroll featuring Payroll Giovanni. This song sits at over 12 million views. He would also sport his new JB chain in this video.
I know exactly where I'm from and who I am, I ain't ashamed. But the love ain't the same after fame, that's a shame.
This was dead smack in the pandemic and rappers were no longer able to perform at shows, and that's how they made a lot of their money. T would begin playing video games and streaming on Twitch as a substitute. This would end up being a huge game changer for T. Once he began playing GTA 5 and had someone make him a server, calling it Grizzly World, T became one of the most popular GTA 5 streamers, and he would say he makes $50K a week from this.
I'm on this game and shit now too.
Like gaming shit heavy.
I'm on that game
So
and shit.
so how did you slide into that?
Shit, through the pandemic, niggas was in the house, bored as hell. Jumped on the game. Nigga like, you need to stream this shit. Like, so what I did was I created a server, a Grand Theft Auto server called Grizzly World, right? So it's like Grand Theft Auto, but everything in there is super customizable. You could do whatever you want. I could put that hat in there. I could put that whole outfit in there, this watch, whatever I want to put in there, right? Cars, whatever. The way that I monetized it, I get paid from the server because you got to pay to get in, right? We got like 90,000 members. Dorf like, let me create you a server, bro. I'm telling you, gonna fuck with this shit. I can make you an extra like 5,000 a month.
And it turned into way more than that.
Shit turned into down there 50 a week. I stream it on Twitch, right? I get paid from Twitch. I take the Twitch videos that I already streamed, put it on YouTube, get paid from YouTube, and I get paid from the server. Then you got sponsorships, you got ads, you got all this shit that you get that I get paid from too.
He would go on to release another mixtape called The Smartest, released on June 19th. Detroit rapper Big Sean would appear on this tape on the song Trenches.
I'm a black Reese feeling with some hit records. Joy Road, what I been yelling, niggas big tech.
And just a few months later, around October 24th, T's little brother Marmar would finally be released from prison after serving 5 years. T would greet his brother with a bag full of money, welcoming him home. He would also give him jewelry and a record deal with his label 300 Entertainment, and he would also help Marmar kick off his rap career under the new rap name Baby Grizzly, releasing his first song on November 14 called Add It Up.
It's me on there, it's my face.
Really?
Yeah.
Free skin on Rule 2552, 40 boys in this bitch, grade A with us too.
This song sits at over 4 million views today. Him and T would release a track together called Twin Grizzlies, released on November 23rd. This also has around 4 million views.
Play that bitch red then I sue Woo Flex over Big Dog 2920 on my left shoulders.
And just weeks later on December 2nd, T's mother, LaToya Perry, would be released from prison early after putting in a request for a compassionate release. The judge would grant this and let LaToya out of prison after serving around 8 years, and she had about 7 left to go, so this was a huge win for the family. And just 6 days later, on December 8th, 2020, Marmar would find himself back in trouble. He was riding on a white Maserati on the city's north side when police noticed the car was driving with the headlights off as it was nighttime. They would quickly pull the car over and find 4 guns in the backseat where Marmar and his friends sat. The feds will pick up his charges and indict him on possession of a firearm by a felon. At the beginning of 2021, on January 22nd, T would release the song Gave That Back featuring Baby Grizzley. Their mother would appear in this video fresh out of prison.
Baby Grizz and Mama Grizzly back, they let them gangsters home.
And around 2 weeks later, on February 5th, T would drop a song called Late Night, where he would speak about his brother going to jail as well as his father's death.
They told me my nigga ain't make it. After that I start crying and praying. Me and bro like stay strapped, stay dangerous. We gon' be good, he our guardian angel.
He would also start his robbery series around this time. T Grizzly Robbery is a song series where he tells crazy stories with endings, leaving you anticipating the next story. This series would be highly successful, and T would shoot videos to these, creating a mini movie with the videos.
Before I knew it, this nigga ran up on me tripping. Twice in the air, give me everything. I ain't struggle at all, gave him everything.
On April 16, 2021, T would release a music video called Never Bend, Never Fold featuring G Herbo. This sits at over 6 million views.
Keep a nigga with me that's gon' tell the police that they his. Think a nigga drunk, I put that 40 to his rib.
Around this time, T would also announce the birth of his son, and he would name him Terry Wallace III. T would then go on to release his 3rd studio album on May 7th, titled Built for Whatever. He would have big features on this album, including King Von, Lil Durk, Quavo, Young Dolph, YNW Melly, and G Herbo. He would also put All-Star Lee on this album as they finally linked back up.
Lee just got a deal before his deal, he had his chain froze.
But JR was still doing his own thing, pushing his own career, and wouldn't be seen with the two. T would go on to 2022 with a single called Afterlife, released on January 22nd. It sits at over 1 million views. After this, he would then go on to release another song called Beat the Streets on March 4th. These 2 singles would set T up for his next mixtape titled Half T, Half Beast, with Robbery Part 3 gaining well over 10 million views.
One of them said, what happened? I thought you was big time. I told him karma came back, I had to get mine.
He would also drop another project this year called Chapters of the Trenches, containing follow-ups to his story songs. On September 12, 2022, T would take another huge loss as his close friend PNB Rock was killed in Los Angeles.
A man with a gun came up to his table and demanded the jewelry he was wearing. Witnesses say Rock argued with him. They say the robber shot him several times, removed his valuables, ran outside, and got away in a waiting car. Rock later died at a hospital. He was 30 years old.
I want a nigga to see me because I want you to know it's me.
We gonna know it's you.
Okay, bet. Let me get the mic.
This big ass nigga talking about I want a nigga to know it's me. Alright.
Y'all ain't gonna never see 2 other artists that hang out like this, crack jokes like this, and have a real genuine positive vibe.
And in 2023, T would develop a friendship with fellow Detroit rapper Skilla Baby, who had just gained a huge following over the past few years. The two would release a collab project titled Controversy on April 27, 2023, with the song Gorgeous being the biggest off the project.
Our ice and your ice look different. Unky in there cooking up a brick, putting his foot in it.
In October this year, T would collab with Memphis rapper Finesse 2 Times on a single called Grizzly 2 Times. This was a big song, and it has over 15 million views on YouTube.
Real bosses don't cry over losses, we go get it back. The goal is to still get this money while you sitting back.
This single would set T up for his next project, released November 3rd, called T's Coney Island. Chris Brown would feature on the song City of God and one of T's biggest songs to date, titled IDGAF. And he would also drop an old song with PNB Rock on November 7th, titled What's That? T would turn the next video into a tribute to Rock. And Baby Grizzly would yet again be released from prison in July of 2024 after serving almost 4 years.
Clover, smoke him over. Fuck my ex, I hold her. 500 on my shoulders. Straight drip when I drop, so my fans act like smokers.
T would then go on to release another project in October called Post-Traumatic. Fotu Doug would appear on the song Detroit, as well as J. Cole on the song Blow for Blow.
Who hot, who not? Tell me who flopped, who sell out the tours.
T has beat all the odds and went through unthinkable hardships. I'm glad to see him doing well and his people out of prison. If you enjoy this kind of content, hit that subscribe and notification bell so you don't miss any uploads. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.
Did you really grieve your father?
Mm-hmm.
It was hard for you?
Mm-hmm.
How old were you?
About 18, 17, 18.
What do you remember about Dad?
He had a lot of wisdom. I looked at him like the smartest man in the world. Like, anything he said, the answer, like, it ain't gonna be wrong. Because it makes so much sense.